So I saw this article about a week or so ago, and I wanted to talk about it. And a few days ago, I put out a video about Ebonics because some people, some activists, have decided that Black English is actually a separate language entirely, and they feel the need to force it upon children to learn in school because apparently it's just that important. And they were they were obviously using a certain aspect of society to try and leverage this reasoning that Black English is important. It requires you to sort of say that it's been held back, been oppressed by things, right? And now we have an example of white English, I guess you could say. It's not really white English, it's just an expression. It's being oppressed as well by Black people, which is, it's funny, isn't it? How only one group of people is telling other people what they're allowed to say, and they're not just saying what you can and can't say, they're also trying to force you to learn Black English, as we see in that other example. But here, this is from WNBA, the women's basketball, which I know not a whole lot of people care about, but this isn't about basketball exactly. So this is the coach of Toronto Tempo, Sandy Brondello, who is Australian. Right? She's Australian. And she made a comment on a hot mic after her player Nyara Sabelli went down with an injury after contact with Angel Reese. It's some names we got going on here. Angel, first of all, that's the point of contention. Nyara doesn't really have anything to do with this. I just didn't know that was an actual name that people actually had. I mean, I know there's like a trans tuber named Nyara, and I remember a Catgirl slave from Heralds of Valdemar by Mercedes Lackey, old book series. There's definitely some sort of like manga character out there named Nyara, given the name and everything, but apparently it's an actual name that actual people actually have. Who knew? Well, anyway, she made this comment on a hot mic that said that Reese was a protected species, and apparently this is a thing that people say in Australia to just talk about things being unfair. Like they were given unfair treatment because biased treatment. They're a protected species. But it's an Australian saying that has nothing to do with race. Or does it? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say that it doesn't. And as a white American, I've never heard this expression before in my entire life about anyone ever until this story. I'd never heard anyone ever be called a protected species. I mean, obviously I've heard the words protected species about, I don't know, geese or something, but here she's saying it just as a comment of how it was unfair that she didn't get called for the foul, which he thought was a foul, and how Sabali was called for the foul in exchange. I didn't even watch the recording of it. I didn't watch the gameplay of it. It doesn't matter. What matters is that she was punished for it. She was suspended for one game after this comment, this inappropriate comment. But it's not really just that she was suspended, right? It's a lot more than that. This is a black mark on her record as a coach. This is a mark on her as a person. And needless to say, you can't just suspend someone and that's that. No, not in the age of social media. She was obviously forced to go onto X and apologize. And so she did. As she says on X, "Angel, I'm sorry. Last night, in the emotion of the moment after Nyara's injury, I used a phrase that I shouldn't have used, and I take full responsibility for that. My frustration was with the officiating, but my words unfairly put the focus on you. I also understand that my words carried an impact beyond what I intended, particularly for Black women in our league, and I'm deeply sorry for that. I've spent my career competing with, coaching, and learning the incredible Black women from incredible Black women. I regret that my words caused hurt to a community I respect so deeply. I have a lot of respect for you as both a player and as a person, and I sincerely apologize to you, your teammates, and the Dream organization for my comment." It wasn't about a race, though. So she's being forced to apologize because some black supremacist is getting angry at her, right? That's what it is. And by the way, Angel Reese, she went on to X as well, and she commented, "Are we surprised?" with a clown emoji, and she tagged the coach, Sandy Brondello, in it. So she immediately ran to X to play the race card. When she didn't even hear it at the time, I guess. It came on a hot mic. She would have heard it after the fact, after the drama unfolded. And she immediately went on social media to play the race card, to try and farm it. And it wasn't about her race at all. It was just a thing that people say for fairness sake. But the entire world is now held hostage by Black Americans. I mean, a white Australian using white Australian slang, but she's not allowed to do that, because otherwise Black people will get angry for no reason. And it reminds me of a story that I covered. I think it happened in 2025, but it was quite a bit later when it actually became a drama on the internet, and I made a video about it, where a black American man, I think he was in the NFL or something, played football, something like that, and he was in Japan, touring in Japan, I guess, and he overheard an Italian man, a white Italian man, say amigas. And because he heard amigas, he overheard it, and he thought he was saying the slang of the N-word, right? So we have a black American man who overheard a white Italian man speaking Spanish in Japan, and he walks over to him, tells him that he's not allowed to say that, and threatens to physically harm him whilst being streamed live to an Italian man who can't speak English. The entire world is held hostage by black supremacists, and one just has to ask, what can be done about this? White America won't seem to do anything about it, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse because Black America is, well, it's mostly illiterate, and they're kind of just turning into a bunch of racists at this point, whilst insisting that they can't actually be racist because of the oppression that they never suffered. So it's just going to get worse and worse, which we can clearly see happening in real time. Social media is amplifying that and exacerbating it horribly. And you could just look at the comments on this. Like, you would assume this is so ridiculous. You would assume that everyone would be against it. But the comments are kind of back and forth on X. The first one says, what are you apologizing for? The second one is, not shocked to see all the white people on the thread not wanting her to apologize. The racism in this country is exhausting. The third one is, you did nothing wrong. Fourth one says, I don't believe you, because they don't believe her apology. The fifth one says, personal accountability, ownership, and apology are welcomed. Now it's time for the league to take action. There must be consequences for using racial slurs, regardless of the intent. Regardless of the intent. So you're saying the intent of words don't matter anymore. Isn't that funny? What other situation does intent not matter? Following that, someone saying that people with average IQ understands there was no malice in what you said. People with average IQ also understand that you still have to apologize or else the mob will come for you. Another person saying accountability is a great thing. I appreciate this post. I mean, it's just, it's literally just one after the other. One person agrees, one person threatens. One person agrees, one person threatens. There is no in-between. Not that there even needs to be, because this is, I mean, I guess the in-between is that this shouldn't have happened to begin with. But going on from Sandy's response on X, we have Reese herself. This is Reese. Her comments are, firstly, I'm not reading it off of X, obviously, but firstly, I appreciate Sandy's apology, but I also appreciate the love and support that I've had for the last 48 hours. It's been very overwhelming with a lot of love and also other things, but I am grateful that the league did take action. Wow. Great. That sounds like someone who's barely capable of forming a sentence wrote that. So let me get this straight. Someone said something that had nothing to do with her race. Then she goes on social media to play the race card, and then after an apology, she acts like she was like the benevolent, gracious one for accepting this apology. But before she was apologized to, she was in there in a room, like in the middle of the night, whiskey in one hand, pills in the other, loaded gun next to her. She's like, oh yeah, she called me a protected species. This is so sad. BS. You're telling me that she wasn't farming this the whole time? Not to mention, I mean, it wasn't racist to begin with, but she's clearly farming it, and this exact behavior, this right here, of her saying, are we surprised, tagging it, going on social media to farm, this is what's causing black supremacy to keep going, and every kind of mentality like that, because it's being accepted. People are protecting it. Yes, they are a protected species. Black Americans are a protected species. Lots of people these days happen to be protected species. And there's always just the Democrats trying to protect them, but no one else really outside of that, because no one else has anything to gain from trying to protect them. There's always these professional victims. They cannot be satiated no matter what. You want to look at what the end goal is for protecting these people? Women now say that unless they're allowed to snuff out the lives of their own children, then they're an oppressed sex slave of the misogynistic patriarchy. That's the end here. Like, the end is that you have to let them kill people, or else they will claim that they're a slave. That's what we're going to see in the end. Like they just cannot be satisfied no matter what. It's simply impossible to satisfy professional victims because they know that as long as they keep up the act of being a victim, they can keep it going forever. They can keep grifting off of it forever. She goes on to say, there is no place for discrimination or hate in this league from anyone, from fans to coaches to players. Really? Well, the fans aren't actually in the league, though, dumb bitch. And I'm just grateful that we are able to move on from the situation and just play winning basketball, whatever the hell that's mean. Also, stop saying just. Don't say just before everything. What is winning basketball supposed to mean? And what situation was there? The one that you started? Is that it? The one that you actually intentionally started by going onto social media and playing the race card? That situation? Well, you weren't punished as far as I'm aware, so I don't think the situation's been resolved. Then she says, the WNBA is supposed to be positive, and we are going in a great light right now. So I just want to continue that and move forward. Stop saying just. The WNBA is supposed to be positive? Well, what does that mean? They're supposed to be positive. Why is that? Because it's women's basketball? So the women have to be positive? Is that why? Why is it supposed to be positive? What reasoning is there behind that? And I don't even know what the hell she means by going into a great light. What does that mean? Is that Ebonics? Do I not understand that? I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Like, what do you do with this? Like, black people are going to continue to pull this card forever unless it's simply stopped. And it's kind of like how women get away with more and more stuff. Like, there are women who are against all of the BS that women do, but there's not enough of them. And there are black people who are against all of the BS that black people do, but there's not enough of them. And then you have too many people protecting all of these protected groups. And it's not just same demographic bias. You have simps protecting women, for instance. You have white people, just these, like, you know, the charitable types, the getting computers for young black kids in the Bronx kind of types, trying to protect black people every time they pull the race card. And it just doesn't really work out. But I thought it was funny on AP News, which leans, I would say, like, at least slightly to the left. Their comment section, not a lot of comments on this, obviously. Not a lot of people comment on these sorts of news sites anyway. But their comment section's ripping into this story, ripping into her. It's, I mean, there's a couple comments that say she has the right to be offended by it, but why do you have the right to be offended? I mean, I guess you have the right to be offended, but not the right to go on social media and start. You have the right to opinions, sure. You have the right to thoughts. But then she went on social media and started trash talking people, started playing the race card, started trying to get someone's life ruined, tried to get her fired as a coach, tried to force her to apologize, tried to, you know, kick that can down the road and continue it further. It's insufferable. It's insufferable, and let's be honest, they are a protected species. They are. We all know they are, because this is what the coach did. Nothing wrong. She just made an innocuous comment about fairness, and everyone took it as being racist because it happened to be a black person. If it was anyone else, no one would have said a single damn thing about it. This person here on X, they have a comment, it's an AI overview, but it just shows the intent that AI thinks, at least. There's an alternative slang meaning that they've cut off, but that's not even the first or second response. And in the first response, it clearly says, in athletics, most notably popularized as Australian slang, it describes a star player or veteran who gets favorable calls from referees and seems exempt from penalties or fouls that apply to other players. It has nothing to do with race, unless a black person plays the race card. But then the person who's really committed the foul is the black person. And again, what do you do about it? White America's never going to do anything about it. Black America's never going to do anything about it. And as more and more black people are born, it's just going to become a bigger and bigger problem. So what do you do about it? I don't know, because you're never going to have like a brown or yellow person ruling over black people as the mayor or the senator or whatever. And if they are, they're probably going to be a Democrat, because it's probably going to get them more votes if they're a Democrat. So that's the path they're going to take. I just don't see how anyone can escape from this, really. It's like a doom spiral that we're stuck in. They'll keep complaining about bigotry and slavery and such for as long as they can, and no one's ever going to stand up to it. So, yeah, World War III. World War III is the only thing that's going to stop it, because World War III is going to basically just wipe the slate clean. That's what we have to look forward to, guys. We get to deal with this until World War III. Awesome. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.